This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post. In this segment, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. But we also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 15th of May, 2019, and I am 2J.
I am 2M.
And I am Miss K, your host. Again, in case you missed it, this is Winning Headlines. Let's take a look at today's headlines. Daily Nation, austerity. RUTO is on a spending spree.
Rotich.
Why did I say this? I said this before.
Hey.
Take two.
Hey.
Daily Nation, austerity. Rotich is on a spending spree, for clarity. The Star, fake gold. UHURU ordered crackdown. The Standard, tension at KRA over graft raid. Let's start with this fake gold story. It made my day.
It made my day as well.
Same here. It's inconceivable, right, that the president's name has been mentioned in two scams. First is the one for the one.
Oh, the phone call one, yeah.
His voice. But this second one, it did not involve him as such.
It did. When the president
Yes.
is a whistleblower, I don't know where you take
What do
yourself.
you do?
Absolutely. But then I also think for those that have read this story, I think these people are brilliant.
I do.
I would
I felt
agree.
like I was watching a movie. This was like Focus, the movie with Will Smith, the con movie,
Yeah.
or Catch Me If You Can, because you have these guys who dream up this elaborate scheme to
Yeah.
scam a sheikh of
Yes.
money
Yeah.
And
with stories of fake gold.
And he gets padlocks. Anyway, I have a hypothesis.
All right.
What's your
And
hypothesis?
I don't think there's been a current crackdown on fake gold.
Yeah.
There was fake gold found somewhere in Ruto. There was fake gold found at Queensway. Now there's fake gold found somewhere in Kileleshwa. And I sit back and I ask myself, is this an accident? You see, my hypothesis is this. Kenya, there is word that Kenya is about to set up a mineral exchange in Nairobi.
Yeah.
All right. There is a reason why the president of the DRC has been here about 3 to 4 times, right? Shisekedi. Now, if you want to set up a mineral exchange, you will be creating a background of acceptance by cracking down on fake gold so that you set up genuine markets like the stock exchange or bond market or that kind of thing.
2M, I hate to interrupt you because this sounds like a fantastic hypothesis, but I still do think that Ms. K needs to give us a breakdown of exactly what this story entails.
Okay, fair enough. Go ahead.
Okay, let's go back.
Yeah.
So these guys come up with a scam to con a sheikh of gold.
Yes.
They decide that they're going to tell him that they're selling him gold. The gold is in Kenya and he needs to pay them. And once he pays them, they will produce the gold and give it to them.
Yeah.
So the sheikh buys into their story and gives them some money. Once he gives them some money, these guys go under. And they're not giving him, they're not returning his calls.
Oh, they're
So
giving
when
him
they start-
stories.
They're giving him stories. So when they start putting pressure, when Dubai starts putting pressure on these guys to produce the gold, they say that the gold is stuck. And it's stuck at KRA. They've done their
At
best.
JKA.
Okay,
JKA,
yeah.
it's
Customs.
stuck. Customs has it,
Yeah.
and they cannot get it out.
And
In
even-
fact,
yeah.
they print
Documents.
fake headlines with the local dailies. I'm telling you, the extent they went to
To say,
are
look,
lovely. Proof that it's stuck. So the sheikh goes like, you know what? I actually have connections.
Yes.
I could use them.
Yes.
He calls the president
His
and tells the
bestie.
president,
I have gold.
I have gold.
At the airport.
I bought it.
Yeah.
I've paid a half consignment.
Yeah.
I need to pay these guys the rest. I need my gold.
Help
Yeah.
a guy.
Help a guy out.
Yeah, yeah.
Please call your guys down there at
Yeah,
JKIA
yeah.
Customs. Just have him clear my gold.
Yeah.
And I'm good. The president goes like, yeah, sure, definitely,
Yeah.
we'll do it. In fact, let me do it right now. The moment I'm done, calling those guys.
Yeah.
So the president picks up his phone and calls to find out where is the gold stuck.
Lo and behold.
Lo and behold, there is no gold. I love this story. I love the con. I think it's
It's
fun.
exactly what you were saying. By the time the president becomes a whistleblower in your con, you need to reevaluate your job
Absolutely.
completely.
I love it. So now we
But-
go back to your theory, your hypothesis.
Yeah, my hypothesis is there is a background of acceptance being set. And there's nothing
For
wrong
what?
with setting
Kenya
up.
as
yeah,
non-viable country.
Yeah, I mean, if you have a mineral exchange, you become the hub for diamonds, gold, silver, name it.
Note that you're
Alright.
competing against Dubai and South Africa.
Fair enough.
So you're suggesting-
and the better for us. Actually, there's nothing wrong with that.
So you're suggesting that we're trying to clean up our history
image.
of messy gold transactions,
Absolutely.
so that if this
Yes.
thing sets up,
Yes,
we're
we-
ready to go.
We are ready. We
and we
can
look
say
stable.
yes. We can say we have we have this framework of fighting illegal gold, and the markets now can come to us and we'll sell you the
Do
real
we buy
stuff.
it though?
No, I don't really buy
buy
it.
it.
But let's now look at the headline itself
Yes.
and ask ourselves, what do we think of this headline based on our three-part criteria for breaking down headlines?
Yes.
Is this headline topical or is it speculative? Is this headline repetitive or is it groundbreaking? And finally, is this headline thoughtful or just plain lazy?
Topical. I don't know if it's repetitive, because it is, but it's a groundbreaking story.
It's repetitive because the president has been in 2 scams.
Okay.
But otherwise, I do think it's a good headline.
I do think it's a
Yeah.
good headline. I think today we will toss headlines, not by virtue of them being bad headlines, but because someone did it better.
Exactly. So we toss.
We
Yeah.
toss it.
Yes.
Tension at KRA over graft raid.
See, it is what I have been talking about.
Tell us.
And this I will still take issue with Kinoti. You see, there's a book, and Richard Branson always says this, that your best asset as a company is your staff, all right? We keep talking about Kenya Incorporated. Now, if we are going to see the people that work for us as thieves amongst us, and they are so young, I'm sure there are other measures like restorative orders where we can go and, and sort this out.
I have another question that is unrelated to what Tuam is saying. I want to ask a question. Is Kinoti opening up Pandora's boxes that he's not prepared to deal with?
Okay, so you let go of KRA and graft, and I think it's okay because we'll come back to it in the cartoons, and looking at the top thirds of the newspaper where Kinoti snapped at Maraga, who do you think you are?
Say, who do you think you are? Thieves are worse than murderers.
But here's the thing I have to say. I think we need to revisit Kinoti. We need to ask him,
Yeah.
what happened to Kimwarer and Aror?
Absolutely.
What happened to the gold that we found? The money that was
money in the
busted
bank.
at Queensway Bank. The money that was found in Ruiru. What happened to
He
all
opens
those
up
things?
Pandora's box,
And
all
then he
hell
moves
breaks
them.
loose. He realizes, oh gosh, I can't deal with this, and
Yeah.
he runs off to the next scandal.
Yeah. I mean, but seriously speaking, can you imagine 71 young people? What you've done for their careers?
Yeah.
Hold on, pause that thought, because I think there's an interesting cartoon that could
Agreed.
elaborate on that point of yours.
Again, good headline,
Very good headline.
but I think there's better.
I think today we've worked towards
The Daily Nation.
the Daily Nation.
Yeah.
Austerity and my own flip-flop. Rotich on a spending spree.
So just to start with the headline itself,
Yeah.
I think it's fantastic. I love that they ask the question and then they give a little bit of the answer. However, I think it's missing an exclamation point at the end. I think they need to ask the question, then give us the alarming statement, and that would have been perfect. But that's just me.
But I think that just shy of that, this is our winning headline. Although I don't like the story, it's exceedingly negative.
Agreed.
So,
Do
keep it.
you think Rotich is becoming a punching bag for the media?
Well, it's budget
He's
season,
reading
it's
a
tax
budget.
season.
He's reading a budget for goodness sake.
He has the target on his back at the moment,
And-
so
and he's
I think
not-
it's
he's-
unfortunate.
I mean, even the imagery of this picture here, he's
Yeah.
at the center of all this money.
Yeah.
Questions we have that we're receiving no answers for.
Yeah.
I think it's effective as a headline.
So I think this is our winning headline.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay, keep it.
All
On
right.
to the next segment. Political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. And just like the headlines, we have a three-part criteria that we use to break them down for you. We ask ourselves, is the cartoon humorous or is it dry? Is it satirical or is it pessimistic? And finally, is it effective or just plain lazy?
Lazy. Yes.
Which
Good.
one did we toss with such gusto? Take gold.
All right.
I think we have
Ozone.
to look at ozone in
Relation.
contrast,
Oh, yes,
in
true.
relation
To Ndula.
To the nation, yes,
Yes.
Ndula.
Teacher, student.
Yeah, I think this is in.
And no, I think it's to the standard.
The standard. Yes.
Yes. Apologies.
All right.
So what do we have in the star?
Let me see what's in the star. Cartoon of President Uhuru Kenyatta puppeteering Raila Odinga,
Who's changed his pajamas?
who's in Jubilee pajamas
Yeah.
now.
I love the Jubilee pajamas, and I see the reference to the orange.
Yes.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yes, and the caption is, "What absence? I'm overworking." Right, but the person, and I think this is, it's a marionette. So Raila is the one in front of cameras answering questions, all right, for government. He literally has become the spokesman of the executive.
And the puppet master behind the
And
scenes.
the puppet master is trying to control him and say what you're going to say.
Yeah,
I kind of like it.
So the president was hibernating and doing things from behind the scenes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We applaud him.
But who would have thought? Who would have thought a year from now,
A year ago.
A year
a year
ago.
ago, all right, things would have changed to this degree?
I don't think anyone would have thought. Present company, the ones in the cartoon included, they didn't think that this is where they'd end up.
This is absolutely crazy.
So what do you think of that cartoon? I think it's humorous.
I think it's humorous. Maybe Ozone is taking a note. This is a very
minimalist.
very minimalist caption, and I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's look at it against Jubilee jeans.
Yes. Jubilee.
This one I love. In fact, I love it better than this one. I don't know whose jeans these are. Jubilee. I know, but I don't know who's wearing them.
Really? One hop, step, jump, leap onto who the big man is.
Who's in the back pocket?
Well, the person who's been kept in the back pocket is Raila Odinga. And if you saw what he said in Kisumu, he was asked a question about going to China. And he said, oh, this is the creation of the media, you know, the way he speaks. And I was shocked. The person, who would have thought that Raila Odinga would once say that this is the creation of the media?
Yeah.
He's the one who's been calling press conferences to attack government, all right? But I want to say there's a small guy who always appears, Msemakweli, in Gado's cartoon, says, from PM to government apologist.
Yeah.
Exclamation mark, question mark, question mark.
But when you ask that question, who would have thought a year ago that this would happen?
Yes.
I want to ask you guys, what has history taught us about Raila's tactics? This is his third handshake.
Every 10 years, he does a handshake.
He does.
Well, that is true.
We just seem to forget.
Yes.
Then thereafter that handshake,
he
eats, you know, his handshake partner from the inside out.
Absolutely.
So
very true.
Absolutely.
In fact, I think Prof said that as Kenyans we are apolitical. We do not ahistorical.
Yes.
We are very political, but we're ahistorical.
Yeah.
Right.
We do not take into reference the context of history and put into place when we are trying to analyze the future events or events that are happening at that time.
Yes.
And we've been told that information without context is falsely empowering.
Yes.
So we think that.
So if we have the information before us and we know what he did with Moi, we know what he did with Kibaki. What is he going to do with UHURU?
Cannibalize?
Who knows?
And take over Jubilee jeans. Well, I like this cartoon, and I don't know, between the two of them. I think between the two of them, I think we dump the star.
I agree.
Yeah.
We go with the...
No, but we still have one more cartoon to go through.
Yes.
Daily Nation.
Yeah.
Yep. Who do we have today? Is it Iga or Munene?
I suspect it is Ndula.
Ndula, yes.
This I like, although I think it has too many moving parts. It is depicting the situation in KRA.
Yeah.
Right? You have KRA Big Fish trying to show someone how to play, looks like golf, but the club is theft.
I'm sorry.
The club is sticky fingers, eh? All right? But as he was trying to put his hand in the cookie jar,
grab some Kenya shillings.
He was snapped by a mousetrap labeled DCI.
Yeah.
This I like, and because what he's saying is this: if DCI was very serious against the fight against graft, or really wanted to uncover some bad things happening at KRA, they should have gone for the big fish.
But is it possible to go for the big fish? I feel like at this point they're so well connected that they keep evading the law.
He's the one who told Mwilu, who the hell are you?
But I do have to say this. You see, this shows something very interesting. I agree with you, Tujay, that you cannot really go for the big fish because the connection between the big fish and the actual money is very, very tenuous.
Yeah.
You can find the small fish with their fingers deep in the cookie jar. But getting that link all the way back down to the mastermind is
very hard. In fact, the saddest thing about this cartoon, what it's saying to me, is that these big fish were teaching the little KRA officers how to play the game.
Absolutely.
And then what happens? They get caught.
Absolutely.
How to get coins.
How to get coins.
But those look like 1 shilling, right?
Yeah.
So it's not even big money.
These are coins. And I'm saying this, if you really want to catch corruption and in government, why don't you go after the traffic department?
So it is Gado versus Ndula.
What a leap. All right. I would say we go with the standard.
You're in my back pocket.
You're in my back pocket. I think that's
even
fantastic.
The connotation of being in the back pocket as in he was paid.
Yeah. I agree with 2M. There's a lot going on over here.
I love it.
We toss.
Okay. Our winning cartoon is from the Standard. What is our final thought?
And now our final thought. It is inspired by a book entitled Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins.
Yep.
All right. And this book is basically about, Perkins he used to work for a firm. They used to advise the World Bank. And what they used to do is offer developing countries huge loans, and the Bretton Woods institutions and the World Bank would put it to developing countries that these loans would help you leap and have huge economic progress. But by the end of the day, the countries would have such a big problem paying back these loans.
Yeah.
And I want to summarize this book using a quote I got from the book. And it says, there's a small quote where he says, "The imperialist and capitalist drive is so strong and so pervasive that it has become the primary cause of most wars, pollution, starvation, species extinction, and genocide."
That is a very bold statement.
Wow, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what I'll say about this book is we do have to take it with a pinch of salt.
Right.
A whole bucket full.
Yeah. This is an autobiography, so it falls somewhere in between fact and fiction. So I think as a piece to kind of be a cautionary tale, it's very useful. But at the same time, criticism has said that we need to look at it, squint a little bit.
Yeah.
So yes, as you've said, the author talks about how debt is the new form of a prison.
Right.
So he talks about how his job, as you said, was to go into developing countries, offer them huge loans to improve infrastructure and provide wildly inflated projections of economic growth.
Right.
So nothing would improve and conditions would get worse, and then the countries would find themselves indebted to, in this case he's talking about the US, but I think we can make it contextually large and be the West, the global North.
Absolutely.
And Bretton Woods institutions, I think.
And Bretton Woods institutions, exactly.
Yeah.
So what he would say is that at the end, a few families would get rich, the poor would stay or get poorer, and then the countries would just end up finding themselves in worse and worse situations. And the way that they would repay is through the extraction of natural gases, natural resources, the building of military bases. And I think that's a very key one, because I think that's what we're seeing in Africa right now.
The Africans and everything.
And then being pulled down or being dependent on the political support of these Western countries.
Exactly.
So he gives this very interesting story of Indonesia once the Dutch left. So they had a coup in 1965, and then the Communist Party took over.
Yes.
And ideally, that is where I think 2M's quote comes from, because he says that the economic hitmen, their intention was to stop the growth of communism by using these loans and then securely and enslaving those countries that would have been communist to themselves and their capitalist agenda.
Yes.
Yeah, so 1965, Communist Party takes over, and because the US was threatened by China, they decide to take action because of their growing fear of communism in the region. So they give them these huge loans, and they say, we're going to build you this electric power system, and it's going to take you out of poverty, it's going to make everything better, yada, yada, yada.
Yeah.
And so, of course, it doesn't, because it's all lies.
It's true.
It doesn't happen. The country gets poorer, even though the World Bank might say otherwise, but I don't trust the World Bank. They're a bunch of liars.
They are a bunch of liars too.
They are.
Guys.
Oh, yeah, true. They are a bunch of liars as well.
And he says that when they would go to give the projections, they'd give the country 25-year projections of economic growth, which they themselves did not believe.
Absolutely.
Because, as we know from Super Forecasting, the book that we've yet to review in this show,
we should do that this week.
That the farther forward you project, the less accurate your projections are. In fact, they become complete ludicrous speculation.
Yes.
So he was taught by his teacher, as he says, that if you want to project, the guess of that country is as good as yours. Confidence is what matters.
And that's why they're called con men.
And they confidently sold to Indonesia the model.
They did. And what happened is the US ended up benefiting from Indonesia's rich natural resources, from their oil. And that was all to the detriment of Indonesia themselves. So I think this is a cautionary tale. As much as it's an autobiography, it could be a cautionary tale for Kenya. I think there are lots of lessons that we can learn from this.
All right.
In fact, I want to ask the question, and I don't know if I'm being rude if I say
Is this your crazy thought?
It's today. I'll borrow.
You have a crazy thought.
I have a crazy thought. Can I say that we've just swapped out the lender? Because he says that debt is a form of prison. So have we swapped out the lender? And I want to contrast the Confessions of an Economic Hitman to Dambisa Moyo's book, Dead Aid. So she says that the Bretton Woods institutions not good. In fact, who you should turn to are the Chinese. Chinese better. So isn't that what we've done? So we've swapped out IMF and World Bank for Exim Bank. And it's still the same.
Yeah.
But is it the same?
I don't know. It's a question, because The only way to be truly free, according to the book, is to have no debt.
You see, yes, and
So,
geez.
I'm asking that question. Have we just swapped out our master, our slave driver?
And I agree with you, Mrs. K. Look at it this way. I was doing some research on this, and I saw that in 2012, the G8 forgave 18 countries of a debt of about $40 billion. 14 of those countries were African.
Yes.
Right? 2 of them are in the top 10 countries that are indebted to China.
Ah.
Right?
You know what they say, never accept a free dinner.
Absolutely.
That's true.
It always comes with some strings attached. I would
Absolutely.
never accept, for you to clear my debt. At
Yes,
what cost?
absolutely.
What do you want?
And then you sit back and you ask yourself, maybe this guy, what's his name, Parkins, maybe Parkins is right. I don't like him too much because of a condescending feel. I feel like he's talking down at African countries.
I think what you don't like is that he wants you to see that he was so cool and really, really good at what he did. So
Yeah.
that's what he's selling in the book. He's selling
Yes.
his own image.
Yes. But, and I'll go back to what I've been saying again. Our template of government is what will make Africa and the developing world
You should
fail.
privatize the government. Is that what you
Privatize
like to?
everything. Allow markets. You see, if they're giving
At
us
least
loans,
2M is consistent with his
Yeah,
thoughts.
you
We
see-
can
Yeah.
repeat them.
you see why I'm saying this is because all these loans, especially majority of loans from China,
Yeah.
they focus on infrastructure. If you don't pay back for your infrastructure, they take that piece of
They'll
port
take something
or
from you.
airport or that kind of thing. So I am saying, even here in Kenya, we can get a company here in Kenya to
That
fund
goes out.
SGR.
Oh no, to fund our
Yeah, to fund our SGR.
I thought we were going to
And
build a
then,
model.
and then we put toll stations somewhere, all right? You can have a road. We have a road like from here to Moyale.
It's a possibility.
Yeah, and then a local company puts a toll, and we'll be paying that local company money. Yeah, or from Muranga. So why do we need to go and beg in China? Why do we need to go and beg in the States?
And you have taken us to church and preached your dream and vision.
Yeah.
2M has a dream, and this is what he dreams about at night. A Kenya that is free of debt, and a Kenya that has its own internal company from Fort Hall, otherwise known as Muranga, running it. This is winning headlines on the day that we had a winning headline from the Daily Nation and a winning cartoon from the Standard. I will end with a quote from Arundhati Roy on things that can and cannot be said, essays and conversations. It's a book. The IMF and World Bank, the most opaque and secretive entities, put millions into NGOs to fight against corruption and for transparency. But they want the rule of law as long as they make the laws.
Yes.
They want transparency in order to standardize a situation so that global capital can flow without any impediment.
Hey, Miss K, I'm getting chills.
Cage the people, free the money.
Wow.
The only thing that is allowed to move freely, unimpeded, around the world today is money, capital. And today what we have told you is that that capital is not to our pockets.
Hey.
We are imprisoned for life by China,
Yes.
the US and the West,
Yes.
in a debt maximum security prison. Have a great day. See you tomorrow.